Welcome back. Hope you have got a lot of clarity on conversions that we have done in the previous question number 11th. I will just give you one advice here. Even if you have done all those conversions looking at this video, or you have done it on your own, that is great. Okay, but do it again. Once you will do it again, what will happen? The reactions that you have used in those conversions, they will set in your mind. You know what? The reactions are always the same. You need to use the same reactions and you need to convert the molecules into the other molecule. But the thing is, the steps change. Okay, sometimes we need to convert alcohol into alkyl halide, or sometimes we need to convert alkyl halide into alcohol, or like that. Okay, so just do it once again yourself. Do not look at the video now. Just do it yourself and see whether you are able to do those conversions or not. Okay, so let's now move into question number 12 of this chapter. So we are on 10th chapter of 12th class, that is alkyl and aryl halides, right? So let's see what is the statement for the question number 12. Question number 12 here is, explain why. We have been given three parts to this question. So it is 10.12 question. Part number 1 is, explain why the dipole moment of chlorobenzene is lower than that of cyclohexyl chloride. Why the dipole moment of chlorobenzene is lower than that of cyclohexyl chloride. So let's first draw the structure of the two molecules that have been given to us. So this is chlorobenzene and this is cyclohexyl chloride. I'm taking as molecule 1 and this as molecule 2. Before moving into the explanation, let's see what is the formula for dipole moment. Dipole moment is equal to charge multiplied by distance. That is distance between the two charges. First of all, make it very clear that dipole moment is a function of, or it is a property of the polar bonds. It is the property of polar bonds. It does not exist in non-polar bonds. Okay. Now, let's see what is the charge on the two atoms, that is carbon and chlorine atom, in case these two cases. Okay, greater the charge, greater is the polarity, greater is the dipole moment. Now, consider the first molecule. Okay, first of all, we will be looking at the hybridization of the carbon atom to which chlorine atom is attached. Okay, so in the first molecule, the carbon atom to which chlorine is attached, it is sp2 hybridized. Now, what is the percentage of S character here? S character is 33.33%. Now, let's move into the second molecule. In this case, the carbon is sp3 hybridized. So, the S character here will be 25%. Now, because S orbital is penetrated more towards the nucleus, it is, if the carbon atom is having greater S character, it will be more electronegative. The carbon atom having greater S character is more electronegative. This means in this case, in the first case, the carbon atom is more electronegative. Now, if this carbon atom is more electronegative, what will happen to the polarity of carbon-chlorine bond? Now, why carbon-chlorine bond is polar? Because chlorine is more electronegative than carbon. Now, if the electronegativity of carbon is also high, what will happen? Chlorine will not be able to attract the shared pair of electrons towards itself to that extent as in case of less electronegative carbon atom. The extent to which chlorine atom will attract the shared pair of electrons towards itself, it will decrease. Now, if it is decreasing, this means the polarity decreases. So the carbon-chlorine bond in case of chlorobenzene, it will be less polar. If polarity is lesser, charge will be less. Charge on the partial positive charge on the carbon atom and partial positive charge, negative charge on the chlorine atom, it will be lesser. Now, if the charge is lesser, dipole moment is less. Hope this is clear. Let's now move into the second molecule. In this, the carbon is sp3 hybridized, 25% s character is there. This means this will be less electronegative. This is less electronegative. Now, if it is less electronegative, this means the carbon-chlorine bond will be more polar. More polarity means the partial charges on carbon and on chlorine, it will be higher. If the partial charge is higher, dipole moment will be higher. Hope this is clear. Okay, if you are not clear, rewind this video and go back and see it once more. Okay, now let's move into the second factor. Second factor is the distance. That is, what is the distance between the two atoms which are involved in the formation of the polar bond. Distance between the two atoms which are involved in the formation of the polar bond. Now, when we are talking about chlorobenzene, the lone pairs of electrons on chlorine atom, they are in conjugation with the pi electrons of benzene ring. This means resonance will occur. So I'm just drawing one resonating structure. I will not be drawing all the resonating structures because we do not need to draw here. Chlorine will get a positive charge, a negative charge on the benzene ring. Now, what is happening due to resonance? This bond has become double. Carbon-chlorine bond has developed a double bond character. Now, what is the bond length of a double bond, single bond, and a triple bond? A triple bond is the shortest one. Double bond is smaller than the single bond, and single bond is the longest one. So, in case of cyclohexyl chloride, no resonance is there. Okay, if resonance is not there, this means this is a pure single bond. But here there is a double bond character. This means the distance between carbon and chlorine in case of benzene, it will be smaller as compared to the distance between carbon and chlorine in case of cyclohexyl chloride. So distance, smaller the distance, smaller is the dipole moment. So in case of chlorobenzene, due to the double bond character, the distance between carbon and chlorine, it decreases. So the dipole moment is lesser. Hope this is clear to you. Now let's move into the next part of this question. Okay. All right. So the next part of this question is, why alkyl halides, though polar, are immiscible with water? Very, very important question. Alkyl halides, they are polar, but they're immiscible with water. Now we have already learned that like dissolves like. That is, if a molecule is polar, it will be soluble in a polar solvent. But here the reverse is happening. Alkyl halides are polar. They are polar, but they are not soluble or immiscible with water. What is the reason? So first of all, we will be looking at the nature of the molecules of alkyl halide and water. Now suppose we have pure alkyl halide. We have not dissolved it in water. We have pure alkyl halide. Now because the carbon halogen bond, it is polar like this, there is a dipole moment. There will be dipole-dipole interaction between the various molecules of alkyl halide like this. So this is dipole-dipole interaction. Now, what type of interaction is there between the water molecules? It is hydrogen bonding. Like this. So because there is partial positive charge on hydrogen and partial negative charge on oxygen. So there is hydrogen bonding in case of water. Now this dipole-dipole interaction is strong. And this hydrogen bonding is also strong. But what happens when we mix these two? New interactions will be formed, RX and water, like this. Now this interaction is weak. That is, the interactions before mixing the two were stronger, and the interactions that followed after mixing them, they were weaker. So never the molecules they want to have weak interactions. They will not need try to have weak interactions, because when we are dissolving, when we are mixing these two, what will happen? We need to break these interactions first, this hydrogen bonding and the dipole-dipole interaction between the alkyl halide molecules. To break these interactions, energy is required. Now, that much energy is not produced when this interaction is formed. The energy released when this weak interaction is formed, it is very small as compared to the energy required to break the stronger interactions. So it is immiscible. Hope this is clear. So whenever we mix two things, the final interactions need to be stronger than the previous ones. Only then it will be miscible. Okay, so let's now move into the third part of this question. Let's see what is the statement for it. Question number 10.12, third part. Okay, Grignard reagents should be prepared under anhydrous conditions. Grignard reagents should be prepared under anhydrous conditions. The anhydrous conditions means there should not be any water, not in form of vapors, not in the form of droplets, nothing should be there. Completely dry situations should be there. There should not be any water in the medium where we are preparing Grignard reagents. Why so? Because Grignard reagents are very reactive. RMgX is the Grignard reagent. They're very reactive. They react with water and they lead to the formation of alkane molecules. MgOHX. Alkane will be formed. If water will be there in the medium, alkane will be formed. Now we needed Grignard reagent and we are getting alkane. Will it be of any use? So better to have dry apparatus. All right. So let's now move into the next question, question number 13. Let's see what is the statement for it. Question number 13 is, give the uses of Freon 12, DDT, carbon tetrachloride, and iodoform. A bit theoretical question. I hope you will be able to do it yourself. You can just refer to your book because it does not need any kind of explanation. So I'm skipping this question for this video. So I'm moving into the next question, that is question number 12. Question number 14, 10.14. Question number 14 is, write the structure of the major organic product in each of the following reactions. We have been given the reactions and we, in the form of fill-ups, we need to just fill the product that will be formed. Just like conversions. So here again, that conversion part will be revised. Okay, the first part is, we have propyl chloride or 1-chloropropane. It is reacted with NaI in the presence of acetone and it is heated. What will be the product? So in conversions, we have done this, I think, twice or thrice, perhaps, I don't remember exactly. So the product formed will be CH3, CH2, CH2I plus NaCl. This is the only way to convert a chloride into iodide. Okay, so this reaction is very, very important. The second reaction is CH3 thrice CBr plus KOH, ethanol, and we need to heat it. I highly recommend you pause this video here and try to do it yourself and come back to check it. Okay. Okay, hope you have done it and then you have come back. Now, I have told you already that when we are using KOH in alcoholic medium, alcoholic KOH is used, there is dehydrohalogenation reaction that occurs. Okay, so this is the tertiary butyl chloride, bromide, not chloride, it is bromide. So this is the alpha carbon. From here, bromide will be leaving, and all these three are the beta carbons. So from any, because all CH3 groups are equivalent, from any position, one hydrogen can be lost, and it will lead to the formation of alkene molecule. Okay, if it were aqueous KOH, then bromide will be replaced by OH. That is, alcohol will be formed. Br negative will be replaced by OH negative. Okay, so let's now move into the third part of the reaction, this question. CH3, CH, Br, CH2, CH3 plus NaOH, water. Now in the aqueous condition, here it is the aqueous condition. Now if it were alcohol, then again dehydrohalogenation. Now because this is aqueous condition, so it will lead to the formation of an alcohol by replacement of bromide with hydroxide ion. Hope this is clear. Okay, let's now move into the next part, that is the fourth part of this question. The fourth part is CH3 CH2 Br plus KCN aqueous ethanol. It is a direct reaction, it is nucleophilic substitution reaction. CH3 CH2Cn plus KBr. Okay, now this reaction is very important because it is used for the ascending of series. When we need to add one extra carbon to a chain, to the parent carbon chain, we will be converting that compound into cyanide. Just like here, there are 2 carbon atoms in the chain, but in the product, there are 3 carbon atoms. Okay, so this is important point to be noted. Then there is C6H5O Na plus C2H5Cl. So here, this is actually a named reaction that is in ethers. This appears in ethers for the preparation of ethers. Now, this is a nucleophile because oxygen is having a negative charge. It is a nucleophile and this is alkyl halide molecules. So there will be nucleophilic substitution reaction and it will lead to the formation of C6H5O, C2H5 plus NaCl. So ether has been formed. Okay. So this is Williamson synthesis. If you have not done the chapter alcohol phenol ether, then you will not be knowing this, but it is Williamson synthesis. Then the sixth part of this question is CH3, CH2, CH2OH plus SOCl2. This is very simple reaction. Actually, this reaction occurs in the presence of pyridine. The product of the reaction is CH3, CH2, CH2Cl plus SO2 plus HCl. Very, very important reaction to convert alcohol into alkyl chloride. And this is the most used reaction because both these are gases. This is a gas, this is a gas. They escape from the reaction medium and pure alkyl halide, that is pure alkyl chloride, is obtained. So this is the utility of this reaction. So let's now move into the next part. CH3, CH2, double bond, no, not double bond, it is CH, double bond CH2 plus HBr in the presence of peroxide. So we have already discussed the peroxide effect. This means the addition of electrophilic addition of HBr, it will actually, when there is peroxide, there is free radical mechanism that is followed. So it is according to the anti-Markovnikov's rule. Anti-Markovnikov's rule. So according to anti-Markovnikov's rule, what will be the product formed? Hydrogen, that is the positive part of the addendum, it will go to that carbon which is carrying lesser number of hydrogen atoms. So this will be the product formed. Okay. Okay, then eighth part of this question is, this is the last part. CH3, CH double bond C, CH3 twice, plus HBr. Now we have not been given that the peroxide is used. So if the peroxide is not used, this means Markovnikov's rule will be used here. It will be applicable. Now, the positive part of the addendum will go to that carbon which is having greater number of hydrogen atoms. So you just need to consider the carbon-carbon double bond. If you see the carbon-carbon double bond, I'm just drawing it, opening up the structure of this molecule so that you can understand it better. Now this is the carbon-carbon double bond. Now this carbon, it is having greater number of hydrogen atoms on it. This is hydrogen on this carbon, but this carbon does not have any hydrogens on it, but there are methyl groups attached. So the positive part of the addendum, it will go to that carbon which is having greater number of hydrogen atoms. So the product will be CH3 CH2 C. Here it will be Br CH3 twice. Okay, hope this is clear to you. So we have done question number 12 and question number 14. Let's now move into question number 15. So we can just cover it here. I'm just clearing the screen off. Okay, question number 15 is 10.15. Write the mechanism of the following reaction. We need to write the mechanism and we have been given the reaction. It is N-butyl bromide plus KCN aqueous ethanol, ETOH H2O, N-butyl cyanide. Everything has been given. We just need to tell the mechanism of the reaction. Now butyl is CH3 CH2 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 Br plus KCN. It is ethanol C2H5OH and water CH3 CH2 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 CN. This is the product formed, N-butyl cyanide, right? First of all, let's see what will be the nucleophile here. Now because KCN is ionic in nature, so it will be dissociated as this molecule, right? Now this KCN, CN is ambident nucleophile. So we have already done in the previous questions, what is an ambident nucleophile? Which can attack from two sides. Okay. Now because of this resonating structure, it can attack from two sides, either through nitrogen it can attack, or it can attack through carbon. Now because carbon-carbon bond is more stable than carbon-nitrogen bond, so attack occurs through carbon. Okay, so here we can just write it CH3 CH2 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 Br. So Cn negative will be attacking this carbon and this will be leaving as Br negative will be the leaving group here. Okay, and it will lead to the formation of cyanide. Simple. So it is not at all any difficult mechanism. So nucleophile is there, it is ambidentate. We just need to see if this is now, because KCN is ionic in nature, that is why it is leading to the formation of cyanide. That is, the attack is occurring through carbon atom. If it were a covalent compound, then the other situation will be there. Okay, so that case is different. So here it has been asked only in case of KCN, so we are discussing that only. Okay, so we are done with 15 questions of this chapter, and I will be taking up the next questions in the next videos. And I will highly recommend you do not keep jumping from video to video. Just first of all, understand the concepts given in a particular video, and then first of all, I'll absorb all the concepts. Okay, then move to the next video, because same concepts will be used everywhere. Organic is very simple. A few concepts are there. If you understand all these concepts, you're done with organic. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. All the best, keep rocking and score good in your exams.